Brace yourself. What began as a serene autumn weekend on South Carolina's coast exploded into a nightmare. The sun blazed over Myrtle Beach, painting the waves in gold as families flocked to the boardwalk for a carefree Saturday. But in a heartbeat, the mood shifted. The sky blackened. A ferocious tropical storm, born in the Atlantic's depths, roared to life, transforming streets into raging rivers and paradise into a war zone. Winds howled at 60 miles per hour, rain hammered down in relentless sheets, and seawater surged inland with merciless power. Cars bobbed like toys along Ocean Boulevard. Power lines crackled with sparks, and residents fled in panic as the tide swallowed everything. By nightfall, the vibrant resort town was a ghost of itself. This wasn't just a storm. It was the flood that shattered Myrtle Beach's soul. By late afternoon, the tempest unleashed its full wrath. Torrential rain, over 7 inches in under 24 hours, pummeled the coast, while brutal northeast winds drove the Atlantic inland. Seawater barreled over dunes, devouring parking lots and flooding neighborhoods untouched by water in living memory. Ocean Boulevard drowned under 3 feet of churning floodwater. Kings Highway, a bustling artery, became a violent river. Streetlights flickered, transformers erupted in electric blue flashes, and debris drifted past half-submerged cars. It was like the ocean itself broke free, said resident Harold Jenkins, watching helplessly as waves demolished his fence. Sirens wailed as first responders battled to reach trapped families. The flood's speed overwhelmed even high-ground areas. In hours, the iconic beachfront, once pulsing with tourists, morphed into a dark, waterlogged wasteland. This is just north, looking toward PC. The public parking lot. Gone, a voice stammered, capturing the surreal destruction. As night descended, Myrtle Beach became a city under siege. Winds screamed through the streets, ripping shingles from roofs and toppling palm trees. Power vanished, plunging entire neighborhoods into darkness. Emergency lines burned with desperate calls. Families trapped in rising waters, elderly residents stranded in flooded homes, cars swept away by invisible currents. Firefighters and police waded through waist-deep water, navigating streets turned into canals. With high-clearance vehicles and inflatable boats, they executed heart-stopping rescues. One team reached a nursing home as water gushed through its doors, carrying residents to safety one by one. At an apartment complex, tenants huddled in stairwells as floodwaters climbed each floor. The wind screamed like it wanted to tear the building apart, said Angela Rivera, a 24-year-old student. Overnight, community centers, schools, and churches became sanctuaries. Volunteers distributed blankets, clothes, and food to families who'd lost everything. Chaos reigned, but courage, compassion, and an iron will to survive shone brighter. Meteorologists called it a hydrometeorological catastrophe, a deadly collision of nature's fury. A low-pressure system, fattened by ocean waters 3 degrees warmer than normal for October, erupted into a compact tropical storm. As it barreled toward the Carolinas, it guzzled moisture, intensifying with terrifying speed. Northeasterly winds shoved seawater inland, amplified by an astronomical high tide. The result? A devastating wall of water that, paired with torrential rain, overwhelmed Myrtle Beach's outdated drainage system. It wasn't just the rain's volume, said Dr. Rachel Zuzia, a coastal climatologist at the University of South Carolina. It was the speed, the location, and an infrastructure totally unprepared. Climate change fueled the disaster, with sea levels 8 inches higher since the 1960s, making surges deadlier. This flood wasn't a fluke. It was a grim preview of a vulnerable South's future. As floodwaters surged, Myrtle Beach mounted a historic emergency response. The fire department, Coast Guard, and South Carolina National Guard united in a relentless rescue operation. High-water vehicles, boats, and helicopters scoured cut-off neighborhoods. On Ocean Boulevard, a Coast Guard team plucked a family of 4 from their SUV's roof. Elsewhere, firefighters waded through chest-deep water to save nursing home residents stranded without power. Over 1,200 personnel risked their lives, saving hundreds. Meanwhile, the community's heart beat strong. Restaurants served free meals to evacuees. Churches became shelters brimming with cots and volunteers. College students hauled water in sandbags while neighbors braved the storm to check on each other. Governor Henry McMaster declared a state of emergency, unlocking federal aid. FEMA teams swarmed in to assess damage and coordinate relief. Amid the chaos, Myrtle Beach's spirit stood unyielding. Unity, courage, and compassion became its lifeline. When the rain finally ceased, Myrtle Beach lay in ruins. Streets once aglow with neon and beach umbrellas were choked with mud, debris, and shattered glass. The storm's toll, economic and emotional, would haunt the community for months. Damages soared into the hundreds of millions. Over 3,500 homes and businesses flooded. Dozens of vehicles were swept away or destroyed. Hotels, once tourist havens, became refugee camps. Ocean Boulevard, the city's vibrant heart, fell silent. Its shops and boardwalks caked in salt and ruin. Tourism, Myrtle Beach's lifeblood, crumbled as cancellations flooded in for festivals, conferences, and weddings. "We've lost everything twice in 5 years," said cafe owner Mark Delgado. "Walls can be rebuilt. Hope takes longer. Infrastructure repairs piled onto the costs. The outdated stormwater system demanded millions to overhaul. Power lines, bridges, and highways buckled under the surge. Environmentalists warned of lasting damage to dunes and marine ecosystems, calling it a wake-up call for coastal adaptation. Myrtle Beach would rise again, but at a staggering cost. "Look, the water's still rising," a voice whispered, capturing the relentless flood. As cleanup began under the Carolina sun, a harsh truth sank in. This wasn't just a storm, it was a reckoning. Myrtle Beach, like countless coastal cities, had been dancing with danger. Rising seas, fiercer storms, and unchecked development had brewed a perfect storm of vulnerability. City planners, engineers, and scientists convened urgently, agreeing resilience was no longer optional. Plans emerged to bolster seawalls, elevate homes, and expand flood zone mapping. A climate-adaptive zoning policy took shape to block development in high-risk areas. Schools wove disaster education into curriculums. Community groups launched preparedness workshops. Homeowners installed generators, rainwater systems, and flood barriers. Beyond policy, a deeper shift stirred. Residents began to see their environment not as a tourist backdrop, but as a force demanding respect. "This isn't just rebuilding," said coastal geologist Dr. Lena Patel. "It's rethinking how we live with nature, not against it." In tragedy, Myrtle Beach found awakening. In destruction, a fierce new purpose. As the sun dipped over the Atlantic, golden light danced on puddles that had swallowed streets. The waves calmed, almost remorseful, as if the ocean itself exhaled after its rampage. Myrtle Beach was scarred but unbroken. Families swept mud from doorsteps. Neighbors lifted each other up. Children played under skies now clear and blue. Beneath the calm, a vow took root. This time, things would change. From stronger infrastructure to smarter planning, from personal readiness to collective resolve, South Carolina's people were rebuilding not just homes, but hope. The next storm will come. It's not if, but when. And when it does, they'll stand stronger, wiser, united. This is more than survival. It's a battle cry. If you stand for resilience, awareness, and truth, like, share, and subscribe to amplify stories that matter. Together, we rise above the tide.